Welcome to the Friday at 4 podcast series with your host Charles Luttrell and co-host Steve Kent.
Steve, good afternoon. How are you?
Af- All right, I'm doing well, Chuck. How are you for
I'm
a
doing,
Friday?
doing, I'm doing fantastic for this Friday. Oh man.
That's good stuff. Here in New York, it's kind of 40 overcast, but better than snow, so I'm okay with this. So okay.
Yeah, they were calling for rain all day today, and I've yet to see it sprinkling a little bit, but it was supposed to be raining. I was
Oh,
expecting the free car wash.
it's supposed to rain here tonight, Saturday and Sunday, so we'll see. But you're right, like you, I'm looking for that free car wash. So okay.
Exactly, right.
Actually, if it's going to rain heavy, I may run out with a bucket of soap and just what
Yeah,
soap it
why
down and
not?
let the
Right.
rain take it off. So okay,
Yeah, exactly. I love it, man. That's
absolutely,
the way to
yeah,
do it. Right?
it
Yeah.
is. All right, good
All
stuff.
right.
Good stuff.
Yeah, so I know we discussed a little bit of what you want to talk about today.
Yeah.
This episode 71 of
Wow.
the Friday at 4. Yeah,
Wow. We're going on at that point. We're going on almost a year and a half at this point. Wow.
pretty impressive, isn't it?
All right, that works. That works. Well, you
Yeah,
know what? We have fun. We're adding some value, so all is good. All is good.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right,
Yeah.
so take it away. What you
Yeah.
got? Episode 71.
So we're going to talk a little bit today about SEO, which is search engine optimization. Now, let me start right up front and make it very clear. Here's my disclaimer. I am not an expert by any stretch, but what I want to just go through is a couple of things, and I don't know how long this is going to take, but I want to go through just a few things from my own personal experience.
Oh,
Okay, it's all I can go by is what my personal experience is. So let's talk very basically my understanding of what is search engine optimization, because the term is thrown around like water. And my understanding is that using certain keywords, people can go online, like you'll go online and you'll do a search for Amazon and up pops Amazon. You'll do a search on, professional football and up pops the NFL. So it's those search words. That's the search engine optimization. So it's really basically a faster way to narrow down the search of what you're looking for. And people really do that because everybody's in a rush. Nobody wants to wait. And it makes sense to find what you want to do because nobody has 10 hours to find something. I have 10 seconds to find something. So that's why people, and realistic, me too. Okay. So that's why people do this. Now, there are, from what I've been led to believe and a little bit of research, they have what they call the three C's. And what that means is the first C is the content. So, what are you putting up there? And what value is it adding to the general public? So, the more value, the more they're going to hopefully look for you, find your website, if you will, find value, and hopefully do business. That's kind of why we're trying to do this and from a business perspective. The next piece is the code, and that is the technical side behind it. So there are people, and I am absolutely not qualified to do this piece. Absolutely not. But it's the code behind it that when you put in Amazon, your website somehow goes out to the internet and finds that word Amazon, brings it back in, does its gyrations, and hopefully up pops your website or in your website in a list of other websites. That's the code, the technical aspect. And then you have the credibility piece. which really comes down to the authority of the person who's writing it. So I have no authority writing about pulling a tooth because that's not my field. I have no authority talking about working on a car engine because I don't even know other than turning the key and turning the car on. I have no idea how an engine works. That's a real statement, by the way. Okay. Um, but it's what your credit. So I would have credibility on the financial side. You, Chuck, would have credibility going out to restaurants and businesses, helping them figure out what's right, what's wrong, and how to make things better. So it's your field of expertise is your credibility. It's also the consistency of what you put out. So if you put out a search or a search word today on financial and tomorrow on dentist and the next day on coloring books, where's the consistency? How do people know you truly are an expert, or you're just throwing stuff out to see what sticks and try to get people to your site? Again, good news, bad news. Um, Now, one of the things that I also found out, and then in a minute I'll get to my quandary here. But one of the things that I also found out was sometimes people like facts. The fact is the population is aging. The fact is you need to be 18 to drive in some states. The fact is you need to be 21 to drink in some states. Facts. But people more and more are trying to get value out of stories. The story about how my parents didn't plan for their long-term care future. They needed it. They went broke paying for my father's out of care out of pocket. They want the stories of how you became a success. People relate to the stories. They come to your website and everybody's happy because people really gravitate towards and buy based on emotion. Do they relate to you? Do they relate to your story? They buy on emotion. They'll connect with you on emotion. If not sales, you're just offering something, your stuff versus my stuff. If they relate to the story, they relate to the emotional, they're going to gravitate to you, not me. And then that's cool. And that's what people do. But here's my quandary, and I have never gotten an answer to this question. And again, this is based on my own experience. I, for example, contract with a technical person to put up certain search words, let's call it retirement planning, to get me on a Google search or a Bing search or whatever search it is, so that when people come in and type in retirement planning, they're going to see a whole list of businesses that retirement planning is a key search word. Now, I've heard and I've paid for people who say, when you type in retirement planning, I will come out on the first page of that search on top. And maybe I can. But here's where I get very confused. And again, I'm open for an answer if somebody can answer this for me. If I pay 5 different people to put retirement planning as the key words, and people type in retirement planning, whose search is going to come, whose business is going to come up first? If 5, 10, 15, 20, 100 people go to different people to put in retirement planning, you can only get one person on page one on top. How is it that everybody can promise you're going to be on page one first time?
And that is one of the problems with SEO right now is you have to look at the value of that keyword because if millions of people are using that keyword, the chance of you coming up on that top first page of Google when you type in retirement planning is slim to none.
Right.
And I'm glad you said that. It helps me gravitate a little bit to where it's heading now. Is that yes, keywords still matter. Yes, hashtags still matter, but Google is now going towards video. So now if you search retirement planning now, what
Mm.
comes up first? Videos. You didn't think about that, did you?
Oh, had no idea.
So, right. So to go back just a little bit to answer your question a little bit, there is a certain way of how do I describe it easily? Because I'm not an expert in this either. But and that's why we're having this conversation about SEO because we want our
Hmm.
audience to really chime in with this.
Right.
It all depends on what that keyword is worth.
Okay.
So if you have a million people using, you know, retirement planning, that's going to cost you a lot of money to get on that first page because you're using that retirement planning keyword, right?
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So what is suggested, it's called long-term hashtagging and long-term keywording now to where you're
Hmm.
doing Steve Kent financial advising or retirement planning with Steve Kent. You put all of that together. So when people look for Steve Kent retirement planning, you come up first. Does that make sense? Because
I get it.
what you have to do, you have to look at if you go into the details of that keyword and you put in just retirement planning, you'll see how popular that keyword is. And then you'll
Hmm.
see how hard it is to get you
Right.
as Steve Kent on that first page of Google just by
Right.
doing retirement planning, you know,
Okay.
because so many people are vying for that top spot. And again, it
Right.
comes down to what you're saying, the C's, right? How credible are you? Right? How popular are you? There's a lot of factors that go into getting you on that top spot. It's not just about
Hmm.
buying the keyword and boom, here I am at the top of Google. It's a lot.
Okay.
And then Google has to
S-
crawl your website consistently to look at everything on your website to see how credible you are, what your
Right.
content is like, and will it put you first at that top spot?
Gotcha.
It's a lot that goes into it. It's a
So,
lot.
so here's where I'm gonna pull out my skeptical side.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. Again, this is not anything against what you said. This is just, again, this is my own experience.
yeah.
If I use the keywords retirement planning, and so does a million people,
Mhm.
I get it. You're fighting for who's up there. But if I'm going to put retirement planning in to find out which companies come up on that search, until that search is returned, how does somebody know to put in a keyword of Steve Kent retirement planning? They don't know that yet. I still don't exist in their world until they find me on that first page. So how do you turn around and put Steve Kent retirement planning as your key search?
Yeah, so that's the thing, right? What it used to be was you would narrow it down to the specifics of
Mhm.
I'm looking for retirement planning in New York.
Mm-hmm.
You could come up on the top page, top five, top four, top three listings. That's what getting specific and granular will get you on those top spots because you want to be specific with the keywords. Because back in the day, you could just put, you could just keep it very basic as financial expert, boom, if you had financial expert in all 25 pages of your website, over and over again, you would come to the top page. But Google has since changed how they look at how your website ranks now. It's
Okay.
not just about those keywords, not just about putting it in the top header, and putting in your paragraphs of every other paragraph you have Steve Kent, financial services in New York, or some people had a specific page where they listed Steve Kent financial services in every state across America. And that would help get you to that top page because if somebody is
Gotcha.
in
Gotcha.
California going, hey, I'm gonna look for financial services in New York, boom, Steve Kent comes up because you had all those states already in it. Well, I'm in California.
Mm,
So that's why Google had made this change a little bit to make sure that your content is now relevant
mhm.
and people are looking at more of your content that makes you come up first on the main page of Google. Does
Gotcha.
that make sense?
It does. And it
Yeah.
does. And
And that's why I tell people, right? If you Google anything now, the first searches comes up are videos because now Google is prioritizing
mm,
your content, your videos over just these hashtags and keywords now. So if you have all these keywords and
mhm.
hashtags in your website, you're still not going to, some won't come up on the first page of Google now because they're
Gotcha.
changing the way they do things. Again, I'm no expert either at this, but this is what I understand and what I've
Mm,
been told and know about
got
how SEO and what direction SEO is headed in is
okay.
that videos are top priority now.
Got it.
Yeah, but back then, like you
Got
were
it.
talking
Okay.
about, yeah,
So
yeah, back then, just real quick, I want to mention that, back in the
yeah.
day, how many times you had Steve Kent and financials into your website, that's
Mm,
how you would rank higher
got it.
in the rankings for the top page because it was just your content stuck out one.
Got it. So now I'll ask you the next somewhat, somewhat related question. I create a video. Where do I post it so that it helps Google? Again, I don't know if, and again, I'm just throwing this stuff out there. I don't want to put you in a corner because, you're definitely more knowledgeable than me, but you're not at that level.
No.
But so where do I post videos? I mean, I'm putting stuff out, let's say on YouTube. Um, any thoughts on where videos, obviously short, because people have short attention spans and all that stuff. But where do I post videos so that if somebody does that search, it'll go find the video? Where do I post the videos?
And that's the thing. So what you have to do, like say you post on YouTube,
Hmm.
your description, your header and your description of your YouTube video has to be SEO rich to know what your
Got it.
video is about. Because
Got it.
when Google crawls that video, it wants to see this is Steve
Got it.
Kemp in New York City with Universal Wealth, who was
Got it.
talking about financial wealth, talking about blah, 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 and then all this stuff. Then, as it listens to what you're saying,
Hmm.
it then finds how relevant your video is to what you are actually talking about.
Got
So
it.
that's one of the things, and that's
Got it.
something that Jen and I were discussing, a while back with her videos as well.
Hmm.
And I'm sure she's a little bit further along in this than I am.
Okay.
But your video and your description has to really match. You want your
Got it.
content to match what you're saying your video is about.
Got it.
And that's how your stuff ranks. And the more people that watch it,
Hmm.
then it goes viral,
Right.
you know?
So again, you're more knowledgeable than I am, and I don't mean this to be a grill Chuck statement here, but it's not the point of this. But again, you have knowledge I don't, so I'm hoping that you'll help me and help the audience. If I posted a video on YouTube, can I go back into YouTube and change the title and the description of that video?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I need to know because I do have a bunch. So now I have my marching orders for this weekend. Thank you, Chuck. Okay.
Yeah, you can. Now, how much does that hurt your already ranked video? I don't know. But yes, you
Right.
can change it. I've done it. And sometimes changing the title of the video can help it be seen again
Right.
by the Google searching because you're
Got it.
changing the title and it can
Mm,
research and reallocate it again. And if it's going to be more towards what the
got it.
video is about, it can help it not hurt it, you know?
Right. And it
Yeah.
could consider it as a new video as well because it's a new title.
Yeah, that definitely happens. I've
Possible.
heard that. Yep. I've heard that. Yep.
Again, I'm guessing at that, but okay.
Yeah. One thing that I do with all of my videos, I make sure that before I even post it,
Hmm.
I have the title what I want, I have
Hmm.
the content description of what I want, and I make the thumbnail of what I want. And
Got it.
people also say that the thumbnail is very important on YouTube videos because it looks
Hmm.
at what that content's about.
Okay.
So the thumbnail is pretty important as well. So those three pieces are pretty important. The thumbnail, the title, and description.
Right. All right. I'm taking notes. So thank you, Chuck.
Yeah,
I'm taking
yeah,
notes because again,
yeah,
this is all new to me, and that's that's
yeah,
why I wanted to raise this partly for me and again partly for the viewing audience because
yeah.
not everybody understands,
Mhm.
this stuff. Forget the details, even the high level stuff. You can tell
Yeah,
I'm totally out of touch with this. So it's a
yeah.
great learning curve for me. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I've done a lot of research on this way back when I first got into websites and creating websites and content and stuff. And growing with the times it's pretty difficult because it's a forever changing landscape. And they always want you to stay one step behind it now because they want good content. They want people to, be able to go to Steve Kent Financial Services and get financial information, not about fruit. It's like
Right.
it wouldn't make
Right.
sense, right? To go to your website, oh look, Steve's talking about fruit, but wait a minute, he says he's universal wealth.
Right.
So that's the one thing that Google looks at. And what I get from using the Google Analytics, I will get a email from them on occasion that when they crawl my website, they will tell me what the
Mhm.
pages are missing and what it
Hmm.
needs to rank better. Hmm.
Okay. That's
So I don't know
interesting.
if you use Google Analytics or not on
No, I
your
don't.
website,
I don't
but
right
it's
now.
very, very, very good to use.
Hmm.
And that's a couple of things right there that I think would help you starting out would be to use Google Analytics. Make sure your title, thumbnail, your description are very
Hmm.
all really good for your videos
Right.
and post everywhere. I post mine through YouTube and I post on Spotify and I have an RSS feed
Hmm.
set up. And that's a whole other topic we could talk about RSS feeds that pushes my video from Spotify to all other platforms.
Hmm.
That way, no matter what you're searching and what you're looking for, my video can come up on that platform when people are using it.
Gotcha.
But
Gotcha.
that's how I have mine set up. So we record here through Zoom. I upload it to YouTube, upload it to Spotify, and I send it everywhere else.
Yeah, again, this is stuff that I have no clue. So that's again why this is really good information again for me and whoever else is listening if they don't understand this stuff because I
Right.
know I don't.
Yeah.
'Cause
Backlinks used to be a huge thing to where if you had credibility by, you know,
Mm,
having several backlinks that go to your website, used to be
okay.
authority,
Mm,
and that's the thing about, you know, ranking now is if if Google sees people are going to your website and really viewing, your videos, that shows
mhm.
your authority. That shows that people are
Right.
liking your content. They will push it higher.
Got it.
It's kind of way
Got it.
the algorithms work on like TikTok,
Mm,
Instagram. It starts at this low level. They show it to so many people, and if so many people watch it, and it's popular. It goes to the next group of from like
mm,
1 to 50 to 50 to 100. And
mm.
if those 100 people watch it, it goes to 500 to 1,000. And if those people watch it, it just keeps going. That's how it gets viral. But if it goes from 1 to 100 and hardly any people watch it, boom, you're stuck. And it doesn't go any further. So
Interesting.
it's all about being popular.
Ooh.
You got to have good content.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I need to definitely make some changes. I probably have, and I know it's not a lot, but I probably have 30 to 40 short videos. But I know right off the top, I can tell you the titles are not good. The descriptions are not good. I'm just being honest. They're not. So this gives me, and I know the thumbnails are, it's the first frame with me sitting there going as I start to talk. Not a good thing.
I used
Um,
to do the same thing.
yeah, so I'm gonna have to definitely make some changes to those videos soon before I start posting more.
Yeah, and I would love, anybody that's watching this to chime in, leave us some comments, reach out to us on what you think, what your experience is with SEO optimization now and what you're experiencing with videos and how Google's ranking your website and your videos. Would love to know what your thoughts.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
would love to as well. We're all in here to make the biggest impact in the shortest amount of time.
Yeah.
And I know I'm behind the eight ball. I'm admitting that right here, right now. I have no problem admitting that. But I'm also looking for some suggestions, like you said, suggestions of what do you find that's working? What can somebody do better?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so share it with everybody, help a little bit. You never know, if you do this for a living, who you may get as a client if you offer a little bit of help. Sometimes people view it as, oh, you're helping me. You really care. Okay, I'll use you, as opposed to somebody else, for business. So you never
Yeah,
know where it may lead.
absolutely. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah, it's there's no like cookie cutter approach to this. Like I
Mm,
said, they will always tend to be one step behind the SEO marketing and the whole tips and tricks to this. We're always trying to figure out because they keep changing the rules to this, right? And they
great.
do that, I guess, to keep everybody on their toes so you're not ranking ahead of
Mm,
somebody if you're not, for example, if I'm a scammer trying to scam
mm,
people out of money financially, I'm not going to be on the first page of Google scamming
right.
people when you should be there because you're a real legit person. And I think
Got it.
that's what
Got it.
Google wants to really help. And
Mm,
the way to combat that is by having good content, right? Your videos
mm,
mean something. Your videos are true and pure, and your website is set up where it's beautiful and it's rich in keywords, and you're talking the truth about you and your about me section, and you're really talking about what you're bringing to the table for knowledge of financials. And Google sees that and will put you up there versus some guy scamming from Nigeria who just wants your credit card number. So, yeah.
good stuff. No, I know I learned a lot
Yeah.
here. So, thank you for your knowledge. Yeah.
Like I said,
But
know about that much. I don't have to get
that's
us in
that
trouble.
much more than
Yeah.
I know. So, you're not going to run from 0 to 60 overnight. You have to train, you have to get faster. You don't run a marathon overnight. So it's the same thing here. Started out, I did the basics, did not do it well because I didn't know any better. But now I have to go back in, change those. But also anything going forward has to be much different. So instead of retrofitting everything, it's just past stuff, not new stuff, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
But now that I know,
And it takes time, right? We don't have time to sit around and search and read and watch and understand how to do this. That's why we want to hire people to do it for us because we don't have hours and hours and hours to learn how to do SEO. And that's why people do this for a business because they figured it out and they can get you where you need to be. But I think the basics, what we've talked about here, can get you some views, you know, and obviously paid advertising and paying for, some of this stuff can really help as well to get you out there for people to see you.
yeah, it
You know,
can. But again, you can't get to that paid point until you have the right videos, the right titles, descriptions, thumbnails to get yourself out there. So it
because you're just
starts with the
wasting money.
foundation. Right.
Yeah, because you're just wasting money. You're going to put $1,000 in advertising to people see a horrible
Mhm.
video. Yeah, that's why I
Right.
haven't done any paid advertising yet because I don't want to put the money out there until I know I'm confident that my videos are good.
Right.
You
No, it
know,
makes sense. It makes sense.
yeah,
You can do all the work,
yeah,
but if it's not up to the standard of what people are expecting, they're not going to watch it.
exactly. Yeah, they're
Yeah,
going to watch for 30 seconds and kick out. And then the algorithm says, this isn't good. So we're not going to show it to anybody, you know? If people get past the first
right.
30 seconds and they're watching, hey, you might have something here, you know?
Mm. Well, that's a good
Yeah,
thing if you have something. Yeah, no, it
yeah,
gives me
yeah.
definitely good marching orders.
Amazing how fast time flies on it. I mean, we're
It
we're
does.
over 30 minutes in already, and man,
Wow.
there's so much to say.
You know, I know I came in here with the statement of based on my experience, but in this field, my experience is almost nothing.
Yeah.
So that's why, again, to me, I learned so much in here. That's why I was taking notes because when we're done, I'm going to put into my calendar for this weekend that I need to go back and fix everything I've done so that at least the prior stuff will be corrected and then the new stuff will be under the new format. But yeah, but I need
Yeah.
to go back and fix it.
Yeah, and another recommendation too is don't change them all at one time. Change
Right,
one video, see
right.
how those changes work,
Mm,
and then work on the next video, see how those changes work, and you'll get a
right.
sense of how it's working for you, you know, and
Hmm.
see if those changes are working. That's what I did. You know, I went back and changed my thumbnails one at a time, you know,
Hmm.
making it make sense. I think I still have some to do. I didn't do all of them yet, I don't think. But yeah, it's a work in progress. You know, we're just a work in
Hmm.
progress,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's, like you said before, there's no magic bullet. There's no one size fits all. So yeah, it makes sense. Try one, see what it looks like. If you
Yeah.
start getting some traction, change the second one, make sure the first one wasn't a fluke. Now, if you start getting a couple that do work, now you have something that works. So now roll it out.
Yeah.
That makes
And
sense.
one thing you gotta look out for too is you got these companies that say they're great at social media and they'll get you all this
Mm,
followers and
mm,
likes and comments. But then you look at their pages and they've got one or two likes or comments on their videos and their posts. And they have
right,
38
right.
for 38.4 thousand followers, which are probably bought. They don't have any likes and comments and follows themselves. So you gotta be
Right.
careful, you know, who you partner with. You gotta make sure that it's somebody who knows what they're doing, you know.
That makes sense. That's a
Most people say I'm an SEO expert, but are they really? You know, it's,
that's
if
a
it's
good
not
point.
working for them, they can't work for you. You know,
Correct. Correct.
so
That's
yeah,
a good point. Yeah.
yeah,
Didn't think about that. That makes sense.
yeah.
Ah.
You know, the reason I know that's because I've done my research over the years.
Mm,
You know, when people I get hit all the time in email, you know, about your videos could be your podcast and your show could be so much better and seen by so many people. Let me help you. And I go look at them. I'm like, how are you going to help me if you only got 10 followers and you got 3 posts and they got 2 likes? You're going to help me scam and keep moving, you know?
right. Right. But they
Yeah.
count on people not doing that research up front. They charge you and then you get no results and you get frustrated.
People get desperate, right? They want
Yeah.
results. They want their business to make money and they want people to see their stuff. So they get desperate. They're just looking for help.
Right.
So they'll put money out there,
Right.
right? And it's
Yeah.
one thing to remember is do your research. Yeah.
Yeah. Makes
Yeah.
sense. Makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Good stuff. Glad we had
Yeah.
this
Oh,
chat.
great topic, Steve. I'm glad you brought this up. There's so much more to this. You know,
Oh, I'm
it's
sure
such
there is.
a big topic that could go on for weeks and weeks and weeks, you know. And again, right?
It is. But it,
It's a work in progress, right? It's every video, every website, every page.
mhm.
You're going to get better and better and better. You have to learn to just keep changing things and working with it to see what's going to work, you know?
Yeah. And like you
Yeah.
said before, especially as the algorithms change and things, all the work you did to date may not be valid next week, next month, next year. So yeah,
Yeah.
so it's a constant change of and a
Yep.
battle to stay current.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. Yep.
Wow.
And I noticed like, you know, before when I first started my podcast on Spotify, I would get a lot of plays. But now as I transitioned it over to YouTube and
Mhm.
recording through Zoom, Spotify doesn't really get me much anymore. So it's
Mm.
kind of weird. And I haven't really looked into that. I haven't had time.
Yeah.
But you know, I've been looking at what changed, you know, where was
Mm.
that change and what happened? And I haven't had a
Yeah.
chance to dive into that yet, but it's okay because I'm really focused on YouTube, you know. So
Okay.
yeah.
No, good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Glad,
Yeah.
glad
Yeah.
we chatted. Yeah. Good stuff. Yeah. All right. So I learned a lot. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again,
Good.
anybody in the audience, feel free to chime in, send us any messages, comments if you want to be on here, as a guest. let us know. You're more than welcome to do that.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
Steve's number 516-727-2294. Reach out.
Yeah. Chuck's number is 410-935-6132. So let us know if you have any questions, thoughts, comments, want to be on here, whatever, reach out.
Definitely love comments on this video because if we're way off on our subject on this one, hey, correct us. Nobody's perfect.
Right.
I'm not perfect at this, but I do know a little bit about SEO, and as
Mhm.
I work each of my videos and try to get it out there,
Mhm. Yep. Again, you
Yeah.
do all these videos, so it's why I said you're way ahead of me. So I figured let me ask you. It's a great start. So
Yeah,
good stuff.
absolutely. Yeah.
All
All
right.
right, Steve, thanks again for another episode of Friday at 4 because
It's 4 o'clock somewhere. Love
love
it.
it.
Yep.
Steve, have a great rest of the day, great
You too.
evening, have a great weekend, and we'll
You
catch up
too.
soon, buddy.
You got it. Thanks, Chuck. Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Yeah, man. Take care,
Bye.
everybody. Have a great weekend. See you,
You
Steve.
too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You've been watching the Friday at 4 podcast series with your host Charles Luttrell and co-host Steve Kent. Thanks for watching.